years ago, I volunteered to become my son's play-by-play youth football broadcaster. And it quickly became one of my favorite hobbies. In fact, so much so as the season ended, I had this itch, that I needed to scratch, this broadcasting itch. So I went to the leaders at Keystone. I went to Elaine Varelis, the managing partner, and Brett McCarty, the head of marketing. And I said, what if we started a podcast? And we can interview the great HR leaders that we know through our work here. And Brett popped out of her chair and went to her whiteboard, and she wrote HR, Hennessy Report. So we had an idea and a concept, and we're off and running. And then we started to interview all these leaders, and we have now 38 people. It's about to show up now. 38 leaders from these organizations. Most of them are the top of their function in HR. Some of them head of diversity and inclusion, some CEOs. And what I thought today is we could take all of the great learning that we've absorbed from these podcasts and distill it down into something that we can all use to make our organizations better, stronger, and faster. And as I thought about that phrase, I thought about my favorite TV show growing up, which was The $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. Great show. There's some people here that are too young to remember that show. But they both had a lot of speed. They had bionics in their arms and legs and strength. And he had supervision and she had great hearing, bionics in her ear. So great metaphor for HR, vision and listening. So, Christina Lacconi, these are the Bionic Prouders. Christina Lacconi at Rapid 7 says, I major in HR and culture, and I minor in technology, marketing, sales, so I have that approach. Katie Burke at HubSpot says transparency is the most important thing. It's an important part of our organization, and we build everything out of our transparent culture. And it makes our organization more entrepreneurial, and people feel more trusting. Wait for the next slide. Oh, okay. Lisa Kelly Croswell from Boston Medical Center. She said, my sister gave me the most profound thought that why is HR neither human or resourceful? This is from organizations that her sister worked at. And she goes, I'm going to make sure that in my organization, we always ask our employees, what can we do to make their lives better? What can we do to make their work better? Bob Glazer from Acceleration Partners, CEO, very culture-focused CEO, said that I used to think that culture and value statements were all BS because I've seen that inside organizations where it didn't match. And so until I studied high-performing organizations and I realized that's the thing that matters most. And now everything he does is integrated on culture and values. Russ Campanello, the original disruptor, offered partner spouse benefits to the LGBTQ employees of his company 25 years before anybody else did. The first public company to ever to do that, an original disruptor. Katie Burke, actually Patty McCord of Netflix fame, she says, go to your high performers, you know who they are, and ask them this question, what matters to you? And they're going to come back to you and tell you that it's when I work on something very difficult, a challenging project with my team, that's the thing that matters. Paul Davies at GE, he's the head of global people operations at GE, says what I ask myself is, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? And that guides my decision making. A new paradigm, Stefania Manolette at EasyCater. She sees herself as the chief people officer. She's also the founder. And she said, I want to make sure that I let people be their whole selves and be themselves at work. That's the journey I am on, and I want to make sure it's the same for them. Water at 211 degrees, it's hot water. At 212, it creates steam and power. And Karen Anderson from Alnylam and now Mimecast says that the thing that I hire for in HR is tenacity. That's the thing that puts you over the top, that extra degree. Back to Patty McCord, she says building great teams is the job of HR, not to control people. And she makes the sports metaphor, saying sports and professional sports and high-performing sports teams are a great metaphor for our work. Herb Burks of Olympic fame says we don't hire the best people. We hire the people that are the right fit for our organization. And Jill Ellis from the women's national team says that we have to make it difficult. I'm going to make it uncomfortable because that's what it takes to be on the national team. And the most successful team in all the sports is the All Blacks team of New Zealand rugby, and they embody all these things that we just talked about, and they also use humility as a core value, and they say, let's leave the jersey in a better place. So to tie it all together, and use the vision and hearing that we have, the bionic powers, we can make our organizations better, stronger, and faster. And I have a future something you can look forward to be a reminder, and something we can look forward for the future. In 2020, the $6 million man is coming back for both of the people that remember it like me, and Mark Wahlberg is going to be starring in the $6 billion man, and look for that in your theaters. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's in 2020 with that bionic vision, 2020 vision. Thank you.